right, let's take up our next matter. This one is entitled Louis Fulbert Michelle or Rosaline Michelle from California versus Mandy Cox and Brady Cox. Mandy Cox is here with us. Brady Cox is an inmate in the county jail. He has been there for 87 days, and I had him brought in so we could talk about this. Mr. Cox, you're not in any criminal trouble here any more than you already are. This has to do with your landlord-tenant case. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. The plaintiff claims that the rent is substantially in arrears. Rent is pretty big, $1,375, and that
It's supposed to be.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's supposed to be $1,275 a month.
Okay, let's take a look at the lease. Are
Which
you still
that
there?
also expired in September 30th. And yes, Your Honor, I'm still here. And I was not, now that our lease has gone over 30 days, aren't I supposed to be served with a 30-day notice before an eviction notice?
No. They're not serving to terminate your tenancy. They could. Your lease is expired and they could serve you with a 30-day notice. Instead, they served you with a demand for non-payment of rent. And they served a notice to quit on you some time ago.
Yeah, like 3 months ago.
Yeah, well, it takes a while to get here. No, you don't get, they've sued you for not paying the rent, not to terminate your tenancy. Your lease is expired. They could ask you to leave because of that, but they're asking you to pay the rent. And probably the fact that Brady's in jail affects your ability to pay the rent.
Yes, and I only received $36 a week in unemployment.
Well, you're gonna have to move because you can't afford to live in this $1,300 a month house.
That's
Right.
exactly what happened, Your Honor. With me being incarcerated, there's no possible way that she can afford that. And,
Yes.
and we have 3 young children to boot.
Yes, that's a sad circumstance.
Like I could get DHS to probably pay like whatever portion of the back rent, but it was my understanding that out of reading this, he wanted me to move, which is what I thought it was, because I thought this was like an eviction proceeding.
Well, let's take
I'm
a look.
looking at the paperwork. I'm not good with court paperwork, Your Honor.
All right, well, they filed, let's go back to the original complaint. I make notes on every one of these. So let's go look at the actual complaint. I don't believe DHS is gonna pay your rent. It's too big and it's too low.
Well, I know that, but
Well,
assume
according
that
to
they pay a
this, no
portion.
rent has been paid since April 30th of 2022. Brady's only been in jail for 87 days, so this precedes that.
well, right before Brady went to jail, Brady was starting to be in contact with a mediator or whatever with the landlord and the mediator. But then he went to jail and I haven't heard anything from the landlord at all, not via email, text, or.
Well, you just heard something. They served a notice to quit on you in September. They demanded that you pay the rent, $6,375, and plus late payments. And they asked you to pay that or move, and you didn't move. So they filed this complaint in
3
November.
months later.
Yeah, well, that's, in the meantime, you haven't paid any rent. So the bottom line is, at some point, you're gonna have to move, even though your husband's in jail and you have 3 kids, they're not required to provide you a free house to live in.
Well, I understand that, sir.
All right, well, Mr. Michelle, how much is the current arrearage of rent?
When they first started, we had that relationship. It was in 2021.
All right, well, stop. I
Yes.
don't need the whole, I just need to know how much do they owe in rent through December?
Well, so the lease was, is terminated because September 30th, it was the lease. I did not renew their lease. So October, November, and December is not included in that demand for possession. And that according to it's 6,000, as you say, it's 6,000.
375.
Yes. So it's 1,275 per month since May 1 to September. So
No, it's not. It's,
and
stop. You're not proficient at doing this. You don't have a lawyer and you aren't a lawyer. But I'm gonna do the entire amount. So it was 6,375. And if we add in May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, that's 8 months. 8 times, oops, 8 times 1,275 equals $10,200 plus 6,375.
Why would it be plus 6,375? I didn't owe six. No, the 6,375 was minus this last 3 months, sir. It wouldn't be 10,000. Plus,
Yeah.
I don't owe them $20,000
All right, well,
almost.
let's see when the last month that they calculated in here. They say through April.
I was paid through April.
it's
right,
Your
so-
Honor, if I may say,
So, I got you. So the amount is not, it's 10,200, not plus 6,375. So through December, you'll plus some late fees of 255, 10,200 plus 255 plus more late fees, but we'll just go with that. 10,200 plus 255 is 10,455. DHS is not going to give you that much money. You haven't paid the rent since April. Plus, they want you to move anyway because the lease is expired.
Right,
So-
which, and I thought in the Michigan landlord tenant handbook, if the lease was expired, I was to be given a 30-day notice before having to go to court. That's what I've read, like in all of
All right,
my,
well, you're reading 2 different chapters. That's what happens when people that aren't lawyers try to negotiate the complicated.
well, I would like
language.
to
All right.
receive counsel if we could adjourn this so I can
All right,
at least go get a lawyer.
Okay, the law requires that I adjourn this for 7 days. And you can talk to legal aid or someone else, but the fact remains, you owe more than $10,000 in rent. And there's no likelihood that anyone is gonna come to your rescue and pay that rent. But the law does require, you're entitled to have an adjournment. And I have to adjourn it for 7 days. So let's take a look. We're gonna be very busy with the holidays here. But they served a non-payment of rent. They don't have to try to evict you twice. If you pay the rent, you would theoretically get to stay there. So they served a notice to quit on you in September. And so you're so indignant that they didn't serve this stuff on you. They served it on you. In the
Right, but
meantime-
isn't there an expiration to like when they serve it to, because that was my understanding. That's why I would like to see
No,
counsel.
but I don't, the bottom line is you're not paying any rent. You've got almost $1,300 a month rent. You're not paying it. They're losing $1,300 every month that you're there. And right now you owe them more than $10,000. They want you to move out so they can get somebody in there that will pay the rent. So you do have rights to be sure, but they're following all the steps. Now, the problem is, we've got Christmas holidays. And so I don't have another, then we got New Year's holidays. So we're gonna end up in January. Let's see if I can find a place to put this. I've sent a memo out to the staff. We lose multiple Fridays and Mondays because of New Year's and Christmas Eve. 7 days from today is 23rd of December. We're closed that day. The following Friday is December 30th. We're closed that day. And then the first day we are available is January. We're also closed on January 2nd. So the next landlord tenant day we have is January the 6th. And I'm going to set this for 2:30 on Friday, January 6th.
Your Honor, would it be possible to have it in the morning of Friday, January 6th, because of work?
No, I have a full morning that morning of criminal cases. It's the first Friday of the month. I'm going to be extremely busy.
All
You
right.
can get an attorney to help you with this. You're kind of struggling. You didn't exactly dot all the i's and cross all the t's either. But the bottom line is she's living there. She's got 3 kids. She's not paying any rent. Every month you get farther behind is another $1,275. She's indignant because she feels like you didn't cross every I and cross every T. You're angry because you just want her to pay the rent or move, and every longer month she's there, you're out another $1,200. My advice, Ms. Cox, is you try to start finding someplace to move.
I have been
Because-
trying. There is nothing.
Well, and I hear
Like the
that.
shelters are full. I've called the shelters. Like from here to Kalamazoo, there's nothing. And I have no family. So I'm like literally trying my best to find subsidized housing or somewhere else to go so he can have his property back.
Yeah, but
All right. Yes. Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I mean, we understand the situation, but nonetheless, I mean, I cannot let her live there for so, I mean, it's been already, what, since May, they have not paid.
I understand, and even she understands.
Yeah,
And she's right. There isn't anywhere to move to. And Ms. Cox, that's why they have this sort of proceeding. At some point, the judge gives you a drop dead date where you have to move out, or the sheriff comes and puts all your stuff out on the street. And if they get what they ask for, that day is going to be January 16th. You get way extra time here because of the Christmas holiday. And so that's helpful. But the bottom line is you can't afford to live here. I looked at
Right,
the
no.
house.
And
And
I'm
it's a very-
completely aware of that. I'm trying to find different housing.
All right,
Like
well, you
I
got,
think Riverside right now just put a now leasing sign out. So that is on my agenda to fill out an application and talk to the office staff, hopefully
Well-
before the holidays.
all right, well,
So-
I would do it today. Now you've got some grace period here because of those filled up dates. So we're gonna go all the way to January 6th. And if they get what they ask for, you would have until January 16th. Okay, do you have any other questions?
No.
Mr. Dotson, I mean, Mr. Cox, do you have any questions?
No, it's not Mandy's fault in situations like this. It's because I'm incarcerated. We've been through a rough patch.
I understand it is what it is, and I wish I could wave my magic wand and fix it, but right now she's in an expensive house that she can't afford, and the landlords are losing money each month. So she's gonna have to find another place to go, and as it is, she's gonna have about a month to do that, as opposed to 7 days. So I will see everybody by Zoom once again on January the 6th.
At 2:30, right?
Yeah, we'll send you a new notice. And Mr. Michelle, I'm sorry, that's when it is.
all right. Thank you, sir.
All right, okay. All right, Ms. Cox, I'll see you then. You also got some, I think you owe me some landlord tenant fines, or some, you have, I think, a small criminal fine. But you worry about this stuff before that.
Who, me?
Yeah,
Mm, no,
now let's take a look.
I don't know. I'm like, what?
Maybe I got it mixed up with something else.
Your Honor,
Yes,
I wanted to ask, it seems as though Ms. Cox is not paying the water bill as well. I guess.
I already talked to the water company, sir. It is getting paid.
All right, thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
I appreciate it.
okay. Yeah. It's that deferral that you're on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All
I
right.
went down and I talked to Dan
Okay,
from probation, and I can't remember the lady's name, but she gave me a call and I got to call
All right.
her back
all right,
next week
stay
and
on
tell her
top
we
of
to
that.
pay that.
All right. Okay. Mandy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Sorry, my phone
Brady?
had died and I had to get back on here.
All right, Brady, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, this is Judge Middleton once again. We were here on December 16th. Because of the holidays, we had to adjourn it all the way out till now, January 6th. This is a demand for non-payment of rent. Through December, we learned that rent was $10,200 in arrears with costs of $255. We now are at another month, which would add $1,375.
That would be $1,275, Judge.
Oh, $1,275?
Yes.
All right. So that would be $11,475
Yes.
plus $255. $11,730. Ms. Cox, that's a lot of money to be behind, and we learned because Brady was in custody, it affected your ability to pay this rent. What's your current status?
I guess Keystone Place has got a new central office in Constantine. I called them. I am working with Keystone in Constantine. I'm waiting for their call back right now to see about any kind of help, like whatsoever, to get some of the back due rent paid to
Well, I don't think that's going
Mr.
to
Colbert.
happen. I think you should just plan on moving in the
Well,
next
I
10
do
days.
plan on just moving. It's kind of hard when all hotels are not available. Homeless shelters from here to Kalamazoo are completely full. I mean, my caseworker's already calling CPS on me because there's no backup plan at all. Like, I'm trying. I'm literally trying. And I'm trying to keep my kids in the process.
All right, that's certainly very important. But Mr.
Michelle.
Michelle doesn't want to get, he's $12,000 behind in the rent that he's never going to recover. And he wants his house back. This is a very nice house and it's a lot of rent. That's among the highest rents here.
Right. And he has sent me text in the past week that if I could come up with a game plan, get my taxes estimated and get a notarized form from the guy that I am dating, that he can pay the rent and everything else, that he would possibly work with me.
All
I
right,
don't
well, he can
expect him to work.
he-
I don't expect him to work with me or anything. I'm just asking for February 1st, since I'm already getting charged for January, to be out by February 1st.
Well, let's talk about that.
Judge, I did, we were conversing text messages this week with Mrs. Cox. She was supposed to have a plan and also have an estimate, tax document estimate of
Right,
how
and I
much
have an
she's going
appointment
to
at H&R
have,
Block.
how much she will have. I think she stated by the end of February or beginning of March, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Mrs.?
Yeah, that's usually when I get my taxes. Yes, I still
Well-
have to go into H&R Block to get my taxes estimated.
All right, well, the other option is you simply said you would agree to move by February 1st.
Yes,
Are you willing to give her until February 1st to move out?
If will she be paying the past rents with some of the taxes that she will?
No, not if she does that. She's gonna need those taxes for first month's rent in the next place. I'm just gonna do this as it is, and I'll explain. Through January, you owe $11,475 worth of rent. That's the highest rent we've had so far this year. $255 in filing fees, service fees, and a total of $11,730 through January of 23. You have 10 days to pay that. Today is January 3rd. So you have January 6th, excuse me, you have until January 16th. As it was, you got extra time because of the holiday.
right,
no
but if I'm
money
being
to-
charged for January already on top of it as it is, because they can take my state taxes all the way up until that's paid. You know what I'm saying? So if
All
I'm
right,
gonna be
well-
charged for all the way through January, can I at least get to February 1st so I don't lose my kids?
No, you have to pay January's rent, and it, just because it's January, you don't get an extra additional 24 days beyond the time of the writ. Now, he can agree to do that. I'm not gonna do the negotiation here in the court on the record. Mr. Michel, you could
Yes, sir.
benefit from having an attorney to help you with this. You're renting a very expensive house. You're in California. You're doing this remotely. It's hard to do it by text and email. But the truth is, no rent has been paid in many months. Mr. Brady Cox can't do much about it because he's incarcerated right now. She's apparently in a relationship.
I will be out early February, Your Honor.
All right, well, he's
And I'm
probably
planning
not
to-
willing to go that long, but let me repeat, Mr. Michel. You have 56 days from today to ask for the writ of eviction. She has until January 16th to be out or be subject to evicted, where the sheriff comes and puts her out. You can agree to let her stay to February 1st if you wish to. You can agree to let her stay longer than that. But you have to ask for the writ of eviction within 56 days of this date, which would be sometime about February 20th or thereabouts.
All right. Right now I'm working on an agreement to help the Coxes and Mrs. Brady because they have young children.
Yes.
And so right now, so I will want to extend for them. She says up to the 1st.
Yes.
I'm willing to extend it for them. I'm willing to extend it for them up to March 30th because of the young children and to give them a chance to settle things.
All right,
March
so-
3rd, March 30th. And I'm willing, Your Honor, also, since the lease has expired as of September 30th, and they are running really there on a expired lease, I'm willing to send them an extension lease for 6 months from October 1st to March 30th. And I will only charge them $850 per month, which will total by the end of the 6 months, $5,100.
all right.
So
Now,
at
you
that
can work
time,
out- You have 56 days from today to work out that agreement. Ms.
All
Cox, you can't afford this house at $1,300 a month. I'm not sure you can afford it at $800 a month.
I have a
maybe-
boyfriend who has a job who is more than willing to show the landlord paycheck stubs, which I've talked to the landlord about, and
All right, I think he'd
Miss-
rather
This
see
is-
more than paycheck stuff. He'd rather like to see real live money.
All
But
right.
you guys
Right.
can agree on this. I've done it, let me repeat, I've done an order. You have until January 16th to move or pay the rent. He can agree to work with you for up to 56 days. He does not have to ask for the writ of eviction. Mr. Michel, if you let more than 56 days go, you might have to start over again. But
all right.
that's
All
up to
right.
you.
What is the date at the end of the 56 days, sir?
All right, well, today is January 6th. So that is 25 days in January. And 28 days in February. That would be March the 4th.
March 4th, you say?
Yes, if you work something out, you have to do it by March 4th.
All right, I'll plan to work something out and then send it in to them before the 16th. So that they need to sign it. And we'll take it from there. So if I don't, at that point, if they don't have that agreement with me, sir, then I will file for them to, for her to return the house.
All right, Ms. Cox, you need to stay in contact with your landlord. Brady, let me look at it if I can see what your out date is.
It's, should be
Yeah,
February
what's the problem?
16th, Your Honor, without good time for inmate trustee. Or with, depending on if I get more good time.
All right, right now your out date is 3/15. It could get moved up.
Yeah, it's actually February 16th, sir. That's with the trustee time.
Good, I hope you get it.
Your Honor, if I may,
Yes.
Mandy mentioned something about a boyfriend. I do not want anybody else living in the house but Mandy and the children. No one else to be
that's
living
all
in
that's
the
living
house.
here. He's
I-
just willing, he
if-
lives with his
If
mom.
she
He's just
does
willing to
that,
put up the
then I
money.
will, if you do that, ma'am, then I will ask you to be evicted and pay all the money you owe.
He
Okay?
lives with his mom. He's just willing to put up the money.
All right, let's hope we can work this out. All right, Brady, thank you. Good luck on, what kind of trustee are you?
Pardon?
All right, but. All right, you guys need to stay in contact with each other. I'll make a note, if your boyfriend moves in, the deal's off.
Yes, yes.
All right,
And they need to be, even if I make that lease extension, it's only up to the 30th and she needs to find another place by that time and return possession of the house. I cannot have hers because she's not able to afford, they're not able to afford, they have not been paying for that long. I don't think it's gonna make much of a difference.
I understand. All right. I don't want to have any further discussion without her being
All
here,
right.
but all right. Good luck, sir.